Welcome to Passion for the Pastime, where baseball lives 24/7, 365. Catch conversations with beat writers, broadcasters, current and former players of all levels. Now here's your host,
Walter Ika Balsetta. Whoops, I fumbled. I got to get out of here.
Walter Ika Balsetta.
Yo, what's up, everybody? And welcome to Passion for the Pastime. My apologies for starting a little bit late, but I wasn't in the chair when the music ended. Reason being is my cat dropped a deuce. I was downstairs for a majority of the time before the show and kind of just hanging with the cat, and came into the studio, got ready and hit the start button, and the smell started to linger. So my apologies for that, everybody. But what's up? What's shaking? How's everybody doing today? It is Passion for the Pastime on a Wednesday, a hump day edition of Passion for the Pastime. Welcome in, everybody. If you don't know who I am by now, where you been? My name is Walter Rosetta, and we are here. We are live at the Passion for the Pastime studios, and she's going back into the cat box right now. So I don't know if she's finishing unfinished business or what's going on. But what's up, everybody? Inhale that funk. Yeah, no, man. I'm trying to not taste it, right? You know when you have like a bad smell and you can start to taste it after a while. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. Thank you. I don't know if you guys just heard that. Well, my girlfriend just came in here and gave me a hit of the air freshener. So we are good to go, everybody. Welcome in to Passion for the Pastime. Again, a Wednesday edition, a hump day edition. Yes, last night was a lot of fun. If you guys saw any of that, and if you didn't, go ahead and go back and look at the videos. We had John Lund on the show yesterday to break down the breaking news of Justin Verlander coming to the San Francisco Giants, and we talked Giants for about an hour and a half. So that was a long one, long length with John Lund, and that's kind of how we get down whenever we convene to talk some baseball. But today we will be joined by Jeff Young of Around the Foghorn at 6:15. We'll be talking a little bit more on the Giants and everything with Justin Verlander and how all of that kind of shakes out the rest of this roster, and if that hinders the Giants in making any more moves going into the rest of this offseason. I mean, when you look at the remaining free agents, there are a couple of guys that are still out there that can help teams, and some of them obviously are going to cost a lot of money with Anthony Santander and with Pete Alonso. But then there's other guys that are out there like a Jerickson Profar that can be a little bit cheaper, and he has a lot of positional versatility, right? And he has that grit that just gets under the opposing team's skin. So is he a good fit for the Giants? We'll have to see, because it's one thing with Jerickson Profar, and I'm not going to harp on him to come to the San Francisco Giants, but it is an addition on the offensive side, because I think that's something that, yeah, with Justin Verlander coming over to the Giants and going into that bullpen or into that starting rotation. Sorry, the fumes are getting to my head right now. Going into that rotation, it definitely kind of signals, for me anyway, I don't know how everyone else is feeling about it, with that addition to the rotation, it signals to me that the Giants are done. That's it for the pitching side of things. Now, can they make adjustments? Can they make changes when you look to the offensive side of things? Yes, they can. There's a lot of trades that could be had, trades that can go down at any moment. But as far as the bats that are available currently, there's not really a lot. There's not a lot of impact bats, but that's something that we can all come to a consensus on. And I'll talk to Jeff Young about it and get his thoughts and if he has any trade targets in mind. But when you look at the Giants offense, there is a lot to be desired. And we'll talk more about Justin Verlander, what that means for this young rotation, and if it has any indications in the Roki Sasaki sweepstakes. We'll talk all about that for sure, because it is a big deal, right? I mean, Justin Verlander coming over, obviously we're not going to get the Cy Young award, Justin Verlander, but we're going to get I mean, we don't know what version of Justin Verlander we're going to get, but at the very minimum, you're paying for a $15 million mentor for the future of this franchise. And I think that's the big key, is that you're looking to the future of this team. And that's what I see with this Justin Verlander acquisition. And it takes innings off of the young guys that are still going through their developmental process. So it's going to be really interesting. And also, I mean, it's Justin freaking Verlander. I mean, you get excited to see a future Hall of Famer. I know I did in 2009 with Randy Johnson. Obviously, we had other things to get excited about with Tim Lincecum going on to win his second Cy Young. But it's a really interesting transition for the Giants right now. So bringing in Justin Verlander for the starters. But you just look at that, and that just tells me that they're done with the starting pitchers. Now, can they go out there and trade for Luis Castillo? We've talked about that before. I would love to have Luis Castillo. I just don't see that being a possibility anywhere. I don't see that being a possibility for the Giants. They're just not a good fit. I mean, what are you going to give to the Mariners? Because we talked about it last night with John Lund. The Mariners want a bat right now. So there's nothing really from this Giants offense that you're willing to part with that you would be able to make a difference for the Mariners to win now, because their window is now, and they have that young pitching staff to where they just need to have a competent offense, and they just don't have that. And I don't think that the Giants have a piece that they can part with, because they're already struggling offensively. Because when you look all around this Giants lineup, I mean, you have good players, right? You have good players that you can look to. You got Elliot Ramos, you got Tyler Fitzgerald, and you got Jung-Hoo Lee. But these are all guys that have question marks going into 2025. Now, out of all three of them, and we'll talk to Jeff Young here in a little bit from around the foghorn, but of the three, I think you're probably more comfortable with Elliot Ramos and probably Tyler Fitzgerald. But we saw how they ended things in 2024. It didn't end well for them. Now, I mean, that's growing pains, and that's going through your first full season. So we understand that. I mean, it's a game of adjustments, right? That's baseball. That's what it is, day in and day out. You have to adjust. Teams adjust to you. You have to adjust back. It's a constant battle. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the rest of this offense pans out and how this lineup kind of generates runs. Because when you look at it, I mean, Willy Adames was a huge addition, but is that enough? Is that a difference maker for this team? Obviously, you're going to get a full year of Tyler Fitzgerald, but again, big question mark. You hopefully get a full season out of Jung-Hoo Lee, but the big thing with his injury is that now you're set back a year. Like, we're redoing, it's Groundhog's Day for Jung-Hoo Lee. You're redoing your rookie year. So it's going to be one of those things where he's going to have to readjust and all that, and kind of go through the growing pains that Elliot Ramos and Tyler Fitzgerald did last year. So it's going to be really interesting to see that Giants offense and how they can generate runs and everything like that. But what's up, everybody? Welcome to Passion for the Pastime. Finally taking a breath. My apologies, but I just wanted the stench to dissipate a little bit before I took a big breath into my lungs. But what's up, everybody? Let's get on out to the YouTube chat before we are joined by Jeff Young, AJ Cruz. Hey there, little Walter. What's up, AJ Cruz? Good to see you, man. Love to see you here in the chat. AJ Cruz was first to the action, by the way. Beat you, Rockin' New Era. Hey, yo, what's up, dude? How you doing today? Grand Admiral Posey, what is up? What's going on? Sam Huff, a.k.a. Tom Murphy's replacement. Also, good riddance of Austin Warren. Yeah, dude, it was funny because I was at KMBR Studios today, the lone survivor at KMBR Studios today because they were elsewhere. And I saw that come across the email chain that we get from the Giants, and I just kind of chuckled. I was just like, oh no, we lost Austin Warren. Tear, like, you know what I mean? So well, what's up, everybody? Rockin' New Era, chiming in on my hair. Got the slick back hair, white tee, tattoos. Looks like he could be in, blood out. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think that's a compliment. I don't know. Maybe that's a dig. I don't know. But yes, I could probably, if they remade that, maybe I could be casted. Maybe I could be in that movie. That's gross, Walter. Well, yeah, it is gross. Imagine how I felt coming in here. I literally walked up the stairs and I thought I smelled something, but then I was like, no, there's no way. Like, I don't think she went upstairs. Like, it's cool. So I came in here and, from my stairs to my seat, it's probably about, like, I don't know, 10, 15 feet from the top of the stairs to this chair that I'm in. And I'm just like, oh damn, it's 6 o'clock. I had to run upstairs and I came in here. And then as I sat down and hit the start button, I started to get like a whiff, and I'm like, oh no, she did not just do that right before I'm about to do a show. And then I go in there and I see it, and I think I got all of it. There is a little bit of it lingering, so it might still be sticking around. There might still be some in the cat box, so we'll find out. We'll find out later. I don't know if you guys want me to take off the camera, and maybe we could do a play-by-play of me shoveling out crap in the. My girlfriend said no. She said no. You're good. You're good. No, you don't have to do that right now. You're good. I'm just messing around. But yeah, no. It was gross. It was gross. Imagine being in here. Imagine being in here and smelling that. And then you have to perform. You have to do this show for all of you guys. But now it's made for an incredible open. Made for an incredible open for the podcast. But welcome in, everybody. I hope you guys are all enjoying my pain. EB, what's up, dude? I got a new name for your show, Walter Smelly Cat. Yeah, no, that's a great Friends reference. We'll have to ask Jeff Young. I don't know if Jeff Young has any cats or any pets or anything, and if he ever has to deal with stenches anytime that he has to do a podcast. We'll definitely get his thoughts on that. Passion for the fart time. All right. Appreciate that, Rockin' New Era. You guys are killing me with the comments, but I see my guy jumping in here already. I see him in the green room. So let's go ahead and bring him in here around the foghorn, Jeff Young. Jeff, what's up, man? Welcome to Passion for the Pastime, dude. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Walter? Thanks for having me on. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We started the show. We started talking about Justin Verlander. Came and sat down a little bit late because I had a bathroom problem with my cat. Do you have any pets at home, Jeff?
Yeah, so I have one dog and two cats, and I'm trying to make sure that they don't like bark and meow during this. But who knows what happens, you know?
Dude, you're on their time, right? I mean, that's kind of how it goes. But my cat, I got one about a month ago. It's my first cat that I've ever had. My girlfriend has had cats all her life, so she's kind of the expert in all this. So I'm adjusting to cat life. But the cat that I have rescued from a shelter about a month ago, and she's very skittish, so I don't have to worry about her coming on to the podcast. I'm trying to get some cat content, but now it's just her just off the screen. But I ran up here and she just laid one out before I came onto the. So I had to shovel it up, man. It was it's still lingering, but I think it's gone now. I think we're good. I think we're in the clear.
Well, it smells good from my end, so.
Appreciate it, man. Well, Jeff Young of Around the Foghorn, enough cat content, enough cat conversation, but from the Detroit Tigers, I guess, is where it all started with Justin Verlander. I guess that's a good segue into the newest Giant. Is Justin Verlander coming over in that 1 year, $15 million deal to the Giants? He adds, I mean, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. You're not breaking any news with that, but just I want to get your initial thoughts on that deal with Justin Verlander. I mean, we were kind of waiting on Corbin Burns, and maybe the shift was going to go to Jack Flaherty, but now we got the future Hall of Famer in Justin Verlander. So how are you feeling about the move?
Yeah, I mean, when Corbin Burns signed with Arizona Diamondbacks, I think the goal kind of shifted for the rotation, going from trying to upgrade the rotation to just making sure that they have enough innings to cover the rotation, because they have a lot of like young guys that I think they want to rely on with Hayden Birdsong, Kyle Harrison, Landon Roop, Carson Whisenhunt. There's a few guys there, but they're also inexperienced arms. They have pretty low like kind of workload thresholds at this point. So I think the narrative shifted from can we upgrade the rotation to let's just make sure we have enough innings. And Justin Verlander, I mean, it's gonna be entertaining to see him put on a Giants uniform. It's gonna be weird, kind of like one of those players you see put on, kind of an odd uniform, like Ken Griffey Jr. wearing a White Sox uniform, something like that.
Yeah.
But does he have anything to offer at this point in his career? He had a 5.5 ERA and 17 starts in 2024. He missed some time due to injury. Not too far removed from Tommy John surgery. Also, not too far removed from winning a Cy Young award. There was a sharp decline in his fastball velocity last year. He got hit pretty hard on his fastball and curveball, which isn't an encouraging sign. But if you look at his movement profiles, if you look at his stuff plus metrics, those all graded out pretty favorably. So maybe a move to a more pitcher friendly ballpark will help. But maybe the biggest impact that he has is just mentoring a young rotation. I think there's some value in that. And a guy like Buster Posey, I think that's something that he wants to bring to the table.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the mentorship, it's an expensive mentor, but that's definitely key, right? If you take anything away from this signing, is that they are prepping and planning for the future, right? So it'll be really interesting to see how the season goes for Justin Verlander. And I was thinking just outside of the box in that does this have any effect on Roki Sasaki? We'll get into that definitely a little bit later. But when it went down, right, my initial reaction, Jeff, was that, oh man, it's 2009 again. Like it's Randy Johnson coming to the Giants at the end of his career, right? And I think, did Randy Johnson end with the? No, he ended up playing like one more season, I think, elsewhere. I'm not entirely sure on that. Maybe I'm misspeaking, but Randy Johnson's last year, right, or with the Giants, his year in 2009, he went 8-6 with a 4.88 ERA. Do you think that that's somewhere? Does Verlander do better than what Randy Johnson provided to that team, just as far as winning baseball games, the mentorship outside of it?
Yeah, I mean, some of that's going to have to come down to health. He missed pretty much half the season last year. But if you look at his 2023 numbers, that was his last full season. He was still a pretty reliable starter. He wasn't the Cy Young winner that he showed back in 2022. But he was still very good. And I think the Giants would be thrilled if they could get 20 to 25 starts from him, and anything under a 4.5 ERA. I think that would be a win for them. I mean, it's a 1 year deal, so it's hard to really go wrong with a 1 year deal. But initial reaction, on a lighter note, when they first signed him, I was like, man, the Giants just won the 2012 World Series with this signing. And yeah,
it's incredible. I'm looking forward to what would it be? 13 years? I'm looking forward to the 13-year reunion at some point this year with Pablo Sandoval coming over there. I saw one of your tweets that you put out there. I started howling, dude. What was it? I think you said something along the lines of if Justin Verlander were to wear number 48, it'd be the first father-son to wear the same number for the same team.
Like that.
Dude, hilarious, man, hilarious.
Well, glad I could make you laugh. I was trying to phrase that in a way that wasn't gonna be mean. So I kind of went with the lighter thing.
Yeah, for sure, man. We're talking with Jeff Young of Around the Foghorn. We're talking about Justin Verlander coming to San Francisco, and obviously he has a Hall of Fame career and everything like that. So looking at this Giants rotation, right, and I think, I mean, obviously with the departure of Blake Snell going down to Los Angeles, the Giants were in the market for starting pitching, and depending on how deep they ended up going, regardless of how deep they ended up trying to acquire Corbin Burns. Outside of that, but they were in the starting pitching market, right? There was rumors of Jack Flaherty. There was obviously the signing of Justin Verlander. Do you think that with this signing, does that end things for the starting pitching rotation? Like, are we looking at a rotation going into this year of Webb, Robbie Ray, Hicks, Verlander, and Kyle Harrison, and then you mix in, Mason Black and Hayden Birdsong in that conversation as well? Are we kind of done with the additions to the starting rotation, or do you foresee maybe something coming down the pipeline as far as a trade as we get later into the off season?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of major league free agency, I think the Giants are pretty much set. I always thought the rotation as being more of a want than a need. It was something that they could upgrade, but they had kind of a skeleton for what they could go into the season with before the Justin Verlander signing. So I think they're done on that front. There's just a lot of starting pitchers that they have on the 40-man roster right now, and Verlander adds to that. And I think it's pretty easy to see, five, six, seven of those guys getting, 10 to 15 or even more starts. So there's also a lot of variability in terms of, some of the guys like Jordan Hicks, like how many starts can he make before he moves to the bullpen, and Robbie Ray, he only made 7 starts last year after coming back from Tommy John surgery. I think they're pretty much set there. They have enough young pitching to kind of fill in the gaps that they didn't have necessarily the past couple of years when they've had to rely on openers and bullpen games. I think that's something they want to avoid this year. And I think they have the depth to be able to do that. But in terms of international free agency, I wouldn't say that this would preclude them from, targeting a guy like Roki Sasaki. These are different markets here. So,
Right.
the Verlander signing's going to probably have no impact on whether they continue to pursue Roki Sasaki. They're going to, his case is going to come to a conclusion somewhere in the middle to end of January. I think his posting period ends on January 23rd, but they'd like to have that wrapped up before then.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of the next phase of what we're going to get into is Roki Sasaki, right? Because you see Justin Verlander come over here, and you look at, well, the Giants could potentially go to a 7-man rotation, right? And looking at the profile of Japanese pitchers and Roki Sasaki, they pitch once every week in the Japanese league. So, do you think that this signing not necessarily, deters a pursuit of Roki Sasaki? On the flip side of that, does that kind of entice him a little bit to where you have a Hall of Famer in Justin Verlander? He can kind of be a mentor to him. And I don't know how enticing that is versus, I mean, you look at him potentially going to the Dodgers, and you have Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto. I don't know the relationship there. You have Shota Imanaga in Chicago, and then you have obviously Yu Darvish, the guy that kind of started this new wave of Japanese pitchers in San Diego. So how much of the Justin Verlander signing do you think could potentially sway a Roki Sasaki in coming to the San Francisco Giants? How does it line up?
Yeah, I mean, it gives, it gives them a little more credibility in that sense. Being able to pitch with the future Hall of Famer is something that, that not many baseball players get a chance to say that they can do, and there's a lot of learning. Everything that I understand from the Roki Sasaki pursuit is that Sasaki is very interested in terms of how his prospective teams can make him a better pitcher. So, the Giants have a couple of things that they can offer. They can offer a favorable ballpark to pitch. They have a pretty good infield defense. So if he's a high ground ball pitcher, that should benefit him. They have, now they have Justin Verlander in the fold, Buster Posey. But every team's going to have some, kind of legacy player that they can kind of help to recruit. But on a different note, Joel Wolf, his agent, has said that they're not really allowing any players to help recruits to teams. So again, this is part of the package that the Giants can offer now, but I don't think Verlander by himself can really have an impact in terms of saying like, hey, we'd like to have you come pitch for us in San Francisco.
Where do you think Roki Sasaki ultimately ends up? I mean, it's been widely speculated that he's going to be going to the Dodgers or the Padres. I mean, those are the two front runners. But as we've seen multiple times, Jeff, doesn't mean anything if you're a front runner. It doesn't mean anything at all. So anything could change. And apparently there was like a sleeper team or a team that wasn't mentioned in the original. I think it was 7 or 8 teams that Roki Sasaki had met with that team wasn't disclosed. So do you think there's a dark horse team that can acquire Roki Sasaki? Where do you think things are going?
Yeah, I mean, if there's ever a dark horse candidate in the pitching market, I always feel like it's the Arizona Diamondbacks,
Oh,
not
man.
just with Corbin Burns. I mean, this is just
Yeah.
a guess. I'm
Yeah.
saying this in jest, but with Zach Greinke as well about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I still feel like Sasaki probably prefers to pitch on the West Coast. That's just the
Yeah.
general sense that I'm getting, which would bode well for a team like the Giants, but it also bodes well for the Padres and Dodgers as well. They've been long been considered the front runners to land him. And I'd be surprised if he gets to that point. I mean, there's rumors that the Dodgers have kind of held off on their
Yeah.
international free agent signings for this upcoming period, and maybe even moving those signings back a year to be able to get Sasaki as much money as he can get in international free agency, which is a much smaller amount compared to what a guy like Yoshinobu Yamamoto got in free agency last year, where he
Mhm.
was declared an MLB free agent.
Right.
Sasaki is considered an amateur free agent on an international market. So there's there's a difference there, and the payout's going to be the payout difference is pretty substantial. But I still think it's going to be the Dodgers and the Padres at this point. I think they both have kind of been angling for this for a couple of years now. The Dodgers are not connected to any of the top
Yeah.
international free agents. The Padres are connected to one, but they're kind of in the same boat where they may be asking their player, they may be holding off on signing their players until they know where Sasaki is signing.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to follow along this storyline, and obviously the international player pool they can start signing on the 15th, right? So hopefully by then, and maybe that lead up to next week, I believe that's a week from today, we can start to see maybe who's going to be part of that second round of interviews for Roki Sasaki, and we'll see if the Giants are involved in that. They have been linked. I believe that they were trying to get one of the shortstop prospects, right? A 16-year-old. I forget his name. I don't know if you have his name, Jeff, but so they're linked to other international prospects to where maybe they're prepping for not getting Sasaki. But if you ask me, man, like, and I was laughing at your Diamondbacks thing because I saw the blurb. I think it was Bob Nightingale, or maybe it was Morosi that put it out. I forget who it was, but they put out the blurb of there was supposedly a sleeper team that was undisclosed that met with him. I said, I swear to God, if it's the Diamondbacks, like I'm just like, dude, because it makes sense. It makes sense that the Diamondbacks would potentially be in on Roki Sasaki, and we've seen what they've done in their farm system. They know how to develop guys, and that's kind of the next tier of what Roki Sasaki is looking for, right? He's coming over here. He's had arm issues, but he's looking for somewhere that he can thrive and also grow as a major league ball player, and player development that the Diamondbacks have done well over the past couple of years. That's a huge part in it, and that does make you get a little bit nervous, because when you look to the Giants and their development, especially with starting pitchers, I just don't think that they have the resume that maybe Roki Sasaki is looking for.
Yeah, and I mean that could very well be the case. The Giants, it wasn't that long ago when they had a really good like pitching brain trust, but a lot of those guys departed for lateral movements and promotions, and many of those guys aren't here today. And now JP Martinez is kind of heading the pitching side of the organization at this point, and I know he's pretty well regarded And he's been with the Giants organization for a few years now. He was an assistant pitching coach before being promoted to the head pitching coach. So I mean, I have to. I like that he'd be somebody who's the voice on the Giants side in terms of pitching development compared to other guys that the Giants have had on the pitching side in recent years.
Yeah.
Because I know he's well regarded. He's a smart guy, good resume to leverage.
Yeah, definitely for sure. So Roki Sasaki potentially, if he doesn't go to the Dodgers, that would be I think that would be a win, right? If he doesn't come to the Giants, which I mean it might not happen, but if he doesn't go to the Dodgers, we'll be happy, right? I mean, will we be okay with him being in San Diego?
Anybody but the Dodgers, right?
Yeah, dude, that's pretty much how it is. Jeff Young of the Around the Foghorn. So let's get into a little bit of other things. We've been talking about the pitching, and that's kind of been the mantra, right, for many years for the Giants is pitching, and defense. But let's get to the glaringly obvious part of the Giants that needs to be improved, and that's the offense, right? This offseason started off with a bang with Willy Adames getting signed to that 7-year deal, 182 from Buster Posey, and did it before the winter meetings and kind of rolled into the winter meetings with a lot of excitement in that, wow, things might be changing. Like they had a need. They saw the player that fit that need, and they went out and got it. They didn't wait around for anything else to fall. They didn't get all hyped up and get involved in the Juan Soto nonsense. So they got their guy. That was their number one priority. But do you think that impacts, or not necessarily impacts, because there is an impact with Willy Adames, but does it increase the offensive output that we saw from last year with just Willy Adames alone, or is there more to be desired for the Giants offense, and where do they go for that help if they do need it?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still some left to be desired. Last year, I think they were just the major league average offense in terms of production or weighted runs created, OPS plus, whichever metric that you want to use. So I think, and this might seem a little unpopular, but if you look at Michael Conforto's overall stats, they were fine.
Yeah.
He's not the star player he was earlier in his career. Obviously, he departed and went to the Dodgers, and they replaced him with Willy Adames. They didn't replace him with Willy Adames, but that's kind of in the lineup. That's so it's like they're getting a comparable bat, but it's going to be many of the same faces. So I think the biggest problem with the Giants offense is just the lack of a high impact bat or two. And that's, they've tried in free agency to get those guys, and they haven't been successful. But what it does is it puts so much pressure on the rest of the offense to produce when a lot of these guys are, average to slightly above average bats. It really, when those guys all kind of hit a slump, I mean, it really just puts even more pressure on the lineup to produce. But I think there's still a bit to be desired. It would have been nice for them to find a way to upgrade at first base. Lamont Wade Jr. and Wilmer Flores have a track record of being productive hitters, but they're also not the most durable players. They've both spent time on the injury list over the past couple of years. It would have been nice for them to look at adding a corner outfielder. I think that's out of the question at this point. There's Anthony Santander, but I've not heard that they're involved in his market whatsoever. Of course, that could change. They also don't really have a DH at this point, and I think Bob Melvin is considering using that as kind of a roving spot for players to give them an extra day off, which isn't a bad thing either. But when you look at the lineup right now, I can't confidently say that it's better than it was last year, and I didn't think last year's lineup was all that good either. So I think the legwork has been done at this point, and there's just hope that for instance, second base was a really bad soft spot for the Giants lineup last year. I think moving Fitzgerald, there's hope that kind of bridges the gap to making that a better offensive performing position than it was last year. So there could be areas where they see improvement. But at the end of the day, I still think this is very much the same lineup that we saw last year.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Coming into this year, because we have Tyler Fitzgerald, and he was great, but towards the back end of the season, I mean, he kind of fizzled out a little bit. You saw the rookie tendencies, right? He kind of lost his plate discipline a little bit towards the end of the season, and then you look at Elliot Ramos, and he kind of fizzled out towards the end of the year, and those figure to be big bats, big integral parts of this Giants offense moving forward. But before we get into those guys, Jeff, I just want to get your thoughts, because you did mention first base, right? And we know that there's the big polar bear out there in free agency, and he's been linked to the Giants, but more and more reports keep coming out that he might be willing to do a 1 year deal, and that to me just says he's going to go somewhere. If it's not the Mets, I'd be shocked, on a short-term deal and just kind of rack up those stats. But why would Pete Alonso potentially, if he were to come, what would be the pitch for the Giants to bring in Pete Alonso on a short year where this isn't a hitter's park, and he can't really beef up his numbers in just one season here at Oracle Park?
Yeah, and I mean that's one of those factors that have scared away some free agents in the past. I mean, JD
Yeah,
Martinez last year said the exact same thing. He's like,
yeah,
well, if I go to Oracle Park and I don't hit, then I might not get an offer next winter, and
yeah.
that's why I ended up going to the Mets. But Pete Alonso, I think the Giants, the pitch would be like, hey, here's how you hit the ball, and like, look, you're going to hit for power wherever you're going to be at.
Yeah.
And I think the another pitch is just that, hey, we have some good bats to surround you with, and not
Mhm.
that that wasn't the case with the Mets. They were a good team, um, but they have like Matt Chapman, they have Willie Adames, they have Elliot Ramos. These are guys with 20 home run potential, that they can kind of surround Pete Alonso with and kind of stretch out that lineup a little more.
Mhm.
But if Alonso chose the Giants, I think he would have to feel pretty confident that he can hit for power at Oracle Park. And I think if you look at the baseball savant numbers and stuff like that, I mean, it suggests that he's going to hit for power regardless of whatever ballpark he plays in. So I think the pitch is like, look, your home run numbers might go down a little bit, but your production's still going to remain the same.
Yeah, and it'll be really interesting because I mean, if I were giving the pitch, I would tell Pete Alonso, well, yeah, exactly what you said. You're still going to hit for power, and if you hit for power in this ballpark, I mean, then that's going to generate a lot of excitement around you, and you can definitely get another deal there. There's been, I mean, it sounds like he wants to get maybe a lot of opt outs, so I wonder if the Giants can put together like some type of deal to where they can maybe go like a 4 year deal and have opt outs after like the first two or something like that, to maybe entice Pete Alonso to come here. But I don't know if that's something that this new regime with Buster Posey wants to do either, because there was the reports that were coming out saying that the opt outs with Corbin Burns, and we don't know how real those reports were, but the opt outs with Corbin Burns is kind of what pushed away the Giants. But it sounded like the Giants didn't even get too deep into negotiations either for Corbin Burns, so I don't know how realistic that is. But the opt outs, I mean, that's kind of the way of baseball is today, right? I mean, there's not the long term deals that you used to see 10, 15 years ago when Buster Posey was playing in baseball, and even 5 years ago, right? I mean, there was guys that were signing a lot of deals, and there was minimal opt outs at that point. So I think that's just an adjustment point for this new front office and for Buster Posey, to see how they can do that. But outside of Pete Alonso, right, free agency is kind of done with, right? Uh, is there anyone else that we can see like trade wise, or anyone else that can come in here within the farm system that you think can up this Giants offense productivity?
Yeah, I mean, I was spending a lot of time over the weekend trying to figure that out. I mean, the one guy I keep coming back to is a guy like Luis Rengifo, who plays for the Los Angeles
Yeah.
Angels.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's a natural connection between the Giants and Angels with the Manasian brothers
Yep.
being the general managers now. So there's a natural connection there. he's a pretty versatile guy. He's not really strong at any one defensive position, but a good hitter and somebody who would just lengthen the lineup a little more than what the Giants currently have and add a little more speed to the lineup, which is something that the Giants have needed. So, but in free agency, other than Pete Alonso, other than Santander, and there are reasons why those guys are probably not great fits for the Giants. Like I just don't really see anyone who I'm,
Yeah.
overly excited for at this point. I mean, for the most part, the market's moved and people are getting ready for spring training. I mean, that's pitchers and catchers report like 5 weeks from now. So
Yeah.
I think teams want to have their rosters nearly complete at this point. So there's just not a lot of guys available. I mean, I was looking at like, kind of fringe, roster guys like Luis Urias, who played for the Milwaukee Brewers a couple years ago, had a couple of nice seasons, but his production has fallen off. There could be a fit there, but really, I mean, I think what they need is maybe just another left-handed hitting middle infielder. Couldn't hurt. Brett
Yeah.
Weissly is the only left-handed hitting middle infielder on the 40-man roster. Couldn't hurt to have another right-handed hitting outfielder, like a fourth outfielder type. I know Luis Matos is kind of the person who profiles as that, but if they're going to use him as a fourth outfielder, it feels like his time is better spent in AAA. So fourth outfielder, left-handed hitting middle infielder, both kind of on non-guaranteed deals. I mean, I feel like that's kind of where the Giants could address the lineup in free agency at this point.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they put together this roster. And you brought up someone that had a really good winner in Luis Matos, right? I mean, he won the Rookie of the Year in Venezuela in winter ball. 10 home runs. I think he hit 341 RBIs, something like that, and like 55, 54 at bats. But do you think that maybe he is poised? I mean, it's a little too early for us to make this declaration, but last year we saw Tyler Fitzgerald and we saw Elliot Ramos. Do you think that maybe this year could potentially be that year for Luis Matos?
Yeah, I mean, it felt like 2023 was the year for Luis Matos, and then he
Yeah,
came into camp, and he had a different approach. He had a different kind of bad path that was just leading to a few too many, unfavorable outcomes. He was chasing too much out of the zone, which, with the problem with Matos is he has such good bat to ball skills, is that he'll swing and make contact on those pitches, but he won't do any damage on them. But he was lifting and pulling a little too much. I mean, that's kind of the buzzword in baseball right now is to be able to lift and pull. If you can do that a lot, you're going to be a good hitter. But Matos' strength, I thought, was hitting line drives and spreading the ball all over the field, and he just got away from that last year. There was just too many infield pop-ups to the left side of the infield. Just not, he really just wasn't the same hitter he was in 2023 when he
yeah,
really tore up AAA and really earned a call up at that point. But could he make a case for a starting position in spring training? I feel like they're set with the guys that they currently have.
yeah,
But if he continues to hit like he did in AAA in 2023, I mean, he could be knocking on the door pretty quickly. So, it's hard to say what he looked like in the Venezuelan Winter League. I mean, it's a
yeah.
hitter-friendly league.
Right.
He wasn't facing off against too many, major league caliber players. I think the good thing was he just got the reps in. He got, 250 plus plate appearances in, which is great for the off season, and hopefully that's something that he can carry. And it wouldn't surprise me if he had a really strong spring training like he did last year. But I think just getting back to who he was a couple of years ago is going to be the key for him.
Well, and I think the big takeaway with his performance in the Venezuelan league is he maybe regained some of that confidence, right? I mean, it felt like a lot of it for Luis Matos was mental, and as soon as he lost that confidence, it just kind of dissipated for him. So it'll be really interesting to see how he goes into spring training and into the 2025 season, what his role will end up being. Jeff, I'll let you out of here, but I just want to get your confidence level real quick, because I know we've been talking for quite some time here, and thank you for your patience and sticking around and talking ball. But really quick, just your confidence level on the guys that we do have, right? And the big, I think, question marks that we have going into this season is Elliot Ramos, Tyler Fitzgerald, and even Jung-Hoo Lee, who, I mean, he was starting to put together good at bats, and then he ends up getting hurt, and now we're kind of back to square one, right? Where you knew last year was going to be a year of adjustments, a year of maturation for the major league game, and now we're kind of redoing that. It's kind of Groundhog's Day for Jung-Hoo Lee doing that again in 2025. But what's your confidence level in each of those three guys? Who are you most confident in? Who do you have the most questions on? Just Jung-Hoo Lee, Tyler Fitzgerald, and Elliot Ramos.
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. I think Ramos is the guy, even though he had kind of he wasn't as good in the second half. I think there's 20 home run potential in Ramos's bat, and I think he'll return to that. He got off to such a hot start last year with the Giants. I don't think he'll get back to that point where he was like literally one of the best players, one of the best hitters in baseball for a good 6-8 week stretch of time. So I mean, I think there's a pretty good profile for a guy who hits for power there and plays good defense in a corner outfield spot. So relatively confident that he can kind of repeat that profile again. Jung-Hoo Lee, I mean, there were some encouraging signs. He was making good contact. It just was, right into the defense. I think it's going to come down to, how many hits he can find out there in outfield. He has great bat to ball skills. But I think at the end of the day, he finished with a 680 or so OPS. I don't have the number right in front of me. So, I mean, there's still going to be an adjustment curve there that we were hoping to get in 2024 before he sustained that season-ending shoulder injury. So, I'm confident in him. Defensively, he actually looked better than I was expecting. He adjusted nicely in 2024, and just we only saw him for about 6 or 7 weeks. So, I mean, I'm confident that he'll make the adjustments and become a pretty solid everyday player. But it still might take time. And then Tyler Fitzgerald, he showed a lot of good things. He hit for power. He was one of those guys who could lift and pull. If pitchers gave him an inside pitch, he was able to lift and pull it. And more often than not, that ball went over the fence. But there was a scouting report that came out on him late in the season. He struggled to make contact on pitches up in the zone. He wasn't doing any damage on pitches on the outer half. So he's going to have to really show that he can cover both those areas in the strike zone to be an everyday player. So, there was a lot to like in what he did last year. Can he repeat that? I think it's going to depend on how much he adjusts to the scouting report. That's really what it's going to come down to. But I think there's still a guy who can hit for power. Maybe it might be some empty power with not empty power, but like somebody who doesn't put up like a high on base percentage. I think there's a case to be made there. But I would expect him not to repeat the numbers that he had last year. I mean, he just had that stretch where he was pretty he was on fire. He was on a tear. He was one of the best hitters in baseball for a 3 or 4 week stretch there. So I wouldn't expect that to come back. But if he can be a capable bat, somebody maybe lower in the lineup who plays good defense at second base, I think that the Giants will take that.
Yeah, that was incredible, man. He cracked the top 25 of MLB Network's rookies of the year last year. So really excited to see what he can do into year 2. But Jeff, really appreciate you stopping by the podcast today, man. I know we went a little long, but appreciate you stopping by, and hopefully we'll have good things to talk about with the Giants as we approach the season and approach spring training. And we'll definitely talk again, man. Thank you for stopping by, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Walter. The pleasure is all mine.
All right, that was Jeff Young of the Around the Foghorn. That was a great conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Go ahead and give him a follow on Twitter. It was a lot of fun talking about the Giants. Man, it's gonna be really interesting. I mean, I'm getting hyped for baseball season, and it's only January 8th. I mean, it's only January 8th. I know that the Giants, they have their issues, right? And that's going to be the theme of this not even just the offseason, but going into spring training, just to see where the offense comes from, where it gets generated. Because what we were talking about there is there are a lot of guys that have question marks in this Giants offense going into 2025. Now, Tyler Fitzgerald, I mean, he demonstrated and he shows that he has pop, he has power in that bat. It's just can he sustain that? Can he adjust, make those adjustments that Jeff was talking about there? And I mean, they were killing him with the off speed pitches. Him and Elliot Ramos, they just couldn't lay off. But the outer half of the plate was bad for Tyler Fitzgerald. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he can adjust in 2025 and he can turn into that second baseman that the Giants do need from that production from that position, specifically with Tyler Fitzgerald. Elliot Ramos, I mean, I think that, he would be the most, and I'll throw it to the chat. What do you guys think about those three guys? Like, who would you be most confident in? I think that the easy answer is Elliot Ramos, right? I mean, he came on and put on a performance that I don't think that we have seen out of a homegrown outfielder in quite some time. I know Rocket New Era was talking about, the best grown outfielder for the Giants since Chili Davis, right? That was back in the 80s. So you look at that and just the magnitude of what Elliot Ramos means for this Giants team. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure that comes with that. But I am confident in Elliot Ramos and what he did in the short period of time. He makes an all-star team. He has a boatload of confidence. And I think what you'll start to see with the development of these young guys, especially with some of the guys that might be on the fringe, right? I'm not saying that Elliot Ramos is on the fringe or Tyler Fitzgerald is on the fringe or anything like that. But guys like Luis Matos, guys like Gerard Encarnacion, right? They're going to get opportunities, I think, now that Farhan is not there and kind of calling the shots, right? It was all algorithm. It was all analytics. And I feel like now with Buster Posey being there, and we didn't even get into that with Jeff Young and the changes that can potentially come from this new regime with how they're operating. I think that guys are going to have an opportunity to sink or swim. And that's something that you haven't seen and something that you don't see a lot in baseball anymore because there's just such a short leash on all of these guys coming up through the system that I hope that this Giants team can kind of turn back the clocks a little bit and allow them to go through those struggles, allow them to, have Bob Melvin, put his arm around the shoulder of his guys and say, I got you. Like I have confidence in you that you're going to get through this. So it's going to be really interesting to see how these young guys progress in this new era of Giants baseball, and how things can potentially change. But Tyler Fitzgerald, I think that he might be poised to have a big year. But the big question and the big thing that concerns me is that if he doesn't, there is a chance there, if he doesn't, what's the fallback option? Like we're going to Brett Wisely. Like what's the fallback to? We're going to Casey Schmidt. Like that's the big thing that concerns you a little bit when you look to the Giants and their lack of organizational depth when it comes to position players, right? I mean, they have boatloads of pitchers everywhere on their major league roster, in the minor leagues. They just have pitchers everywhere, pitchers galore. But the position player side, it just hasn't really morphed into anything to where that's going to be the biggest challenge for Manassian. That's going to be the biggest challenge for this Giants front office, is to rebuild that farm system that I don't know if it is ranked 30th in Major League Baseball, but it's pretty damn near close. It's not in the top 15. So it's going to be really interesting to see all of that come with Buster Posey at the helm. But let's go on into the YouTube chat, everybody. What's up? Passion for the Pastime. We're going to be wrapping up here shortly. And I believe we'll have a show tomorrow. I will let you guys know. It might be canceled, but I'm planning on doing the show tomorrow. But definitely no show on Friday. No show on Friday. And I might just be adjusting to Mondays through Thursdays just because Fridays are so difficult for me. So we might make that adjustment, but I'll keep you guys posted. But let's go into the YouTube chat. Let's see here. You guys are talking about trades. Luis Arise, no chance. No chance if he's coming here. Let's see here. Mike Val. Mike Val, what's up, bro? I think I read something that Arise didn't think that he'd be back in San Diego. That guy can flat out hit. Yes. And it sounded like for a good portion of time that he might get traded to, I believe the two teams that were being linked to him was the Mariners and the Yankees. But Yankees were really interested in adding Luis Arise. I wouldn't be shocked if that happened. And why does he keep getting traded? It was so funny. I was talking to Copes the other day in the bullpen, and it was after the trade rumors were coming out that Arise was potentially going to get shopped, get traded to maybe the Yankees who were inquiring on him. Why does he keep getting traded? He's like one of the best hitters in baseball. I know he doesn't hit for power, but I mean, he gets on base, man. Like, can you imagine you put him on a team like the Dodgers, like the Yankees? I mean, with the Mets now, like if they go get Pete Alonso, sign him to that 1-year deal, and then they got Luis Arise in that offense as well. Jesus, man, like that's crazy. I don't know why he keeps getting traded, but no, he's not going to come here. I think you guys came to that conclusion as well. They wouldn't trade within division, and I don't know if you'd want to give up any of your prospects to the Padres, who are clearly ahead of you right now. Let's see here. Mike Val, thanks, Jeff. Good to see you. Yeah, Jeff was great, man. Jeff knows ball. Perik Dapa. Jeff is very knowledgeable, man. He makes me look smarter. But Jeff is great. Jeff is always awesome. Had him on a couple of times last year when I was doing the Giants weekend programming. But let's go ahead and keep going into the chat. Mike Val is very talkative tonight. Mike Val showed up late a couple of days ago. I didn't even see Mike in the chat, dude. But good to see you in here. Let's see here. Taylor Jenkins, seems like we're relying on 4 to 5 young guys to carry our team. That's accurate. That is accurate. This is a team that is in it's kind of in the middle, right? It's in the middle right now to where they are going through a transitional period of developing these guys. And I mean, who are your 4 or 5 young guys to carry the team? I mean, you're talking about Tyler Fitzgerald, you're talking about Elliot Ramos, and I don't know if you would go on just those guys carrying the team, because obviously it's going to rely on Matt Chapman. It's going to be Willie Adames in the offense, and then you go to Elliot Ramos offensively. I think he would probably be the number 3 option as to who you're relying on offensively. But then, yeah, you go to the pitching rotation. I don't know if you can really say that you would rely on Justin Verlander. Anything that you can get positive wise, I guess, is a bonus, but he's there for other reasons. And he is there to mentor those young guys to carry the team, like Kyle Harrison, who's supposed to take big strides forward. I mean, we're hoping that happens going into his year 23 season, turns 24 in August. So it'll be interesting to see how all that goes. But yeah, you got Hayden Birdsong, also someone that is going to be relied on in the rotation. But you also have Robbie Ray. He's a vet, and I think that he is going to be relied on to kind of be that number 2. Now, is that a disservice to Robbie Ray? Because I don't feel things can change. I mean, but he's getting further removed from Tommy John surgery. But is it a disservice to him to have the expectation to be the number 2 in this rotation? I feel like he's more suited for a 3 or 4 at this current stage in his career. But you know, that's kind of what's going to be called from him, because who else is the number 2? That's the biggest thing, is that if this is done, if this rotation is filled out, and it kind of seems that it does, and talking to Jeff, seems like there's not going to be any other additions on the rotation side. Is this enough? Is this enough to compete in the West, where all these moves went down with the Dodgers? They might go get Roki Sasaki. Now, Roki Sasaki comes into the Giants, and that changes things. But I have doubts that Roki Sasaki would choose San Francisco over some of the other teams that were listed, like the Dodgers, like the Padres, like the Rangers, like the Cubs, whoever the hell the damn mystery team is. That's a question too. I'll throw it out to the chat. Who the hell's the mystery team? Like who is that team? I swear, Jeff was reading my mind, man, because I put it out there on X, and I was just like, I swear to God, if it's the Diamondbacks, I'm going to lose my mind. And Rocket New Era is hoping that it's the Diamondbacks, so that I do lose my mind on Passion for the Pastime when that does happen. I will do a breaking news as soon as that happens. If it's the Dodgers, maybe not. I'll let it marinate because we were expecting that to happen. But if it was the Diamondbacks, oh my God, man, I would lose my mind. I would lose my mind. Not that the Diamondbacks pissed me off more than the Dodgers. I mean, I would get pretty pissed off with Roki Sasaki going to the Dodgers, but it's expected. I mean, we were talking about that for longer than this offseason, that he was going to end up going to the Dodgers. I think we were talking about that when Yamamoto signed. It might have been when the World Baseball Classic happened that, oh yeah, he's going to be a Dodger. I think that's when we knew that he was going to be in Los Angeles. So, but the Diamondbacks, I mean, with what they're building there, they're building a powerhouse, man. And I know it's the Diamondbacks and it's the desert. And I mean, they made it to the World Series. They didn't win, but they made it to the World Series. And I mean, they're kind of a team that you don't really care about too much in the West. But dude, they're if they get Roki Sasaki, they're going to be a force in the National League and in the National League West. And could potentially, I don't know if it's this year, but they can potentially compete with the Dodgers and break that streak of the stranglehold over the National League West. So what do you guys think on that? Taylor Jenkins, yeah, it's going to be hit or miss, 100%, man. I agree with you. Let's see here. What else we got going on here? Mike Val chiming in on his confidence level. I'm confident in Ramos and Fitzgerald will have made the adjustments they needed to during the offseason, though I always know that there's always going to be weekly, monthly adjustments and to make year round. Yeah, I mean, you got to be confident in those guys, but again, they are young. They are still adjusting to the major league game. So it's just how quickly can they make those adjustments? How calm can they stay under pressure? But then also with this new regime, they're going to be allowed to have droughts. They're going to be allowed to go through those growing pains. I think that's the biggest key, because now, with what's being instilled from the front office down to the manager, and I think that's why you brought in Bob Melvin in the first place, is because players want to play for him, players trust him, and it's because he believes in them. He believes in them, and there won't be someone else calling the shots as far as who's on the roster, who's in the lineup day in and day out. So it's going to be. I think it's going to be a different feel this year and moving forward, especially with the development of some of these young guys. They're going to be allowed to sink or swim. Let's see here. Rocket New Era comes in here. Ramos needs to get run to at least the All-Star break. Needs to get run to at least the All-Star break. Yeah, no, I mean, he's going to be in there. He's going to be the everyday guy. But yeah, Ramos, I'm looking forward to Elliot Ramos for sure. Did AJ call in? No cruise line yet, Ernie. What's up, dude? Welcome into the chat. No cruise line yet. I will definitely be working on that as the week progresses. EB chiming in. If the Giants invest in coaching, the youngsters will flourish. Yeah, I mean, what changes would you want to have with the investment in coaching? Like, are you talking specifically to bringing in Madison Bumgarner and Brandon Belt and Brandon Crawford, like bringing back those guys to be coaches? Is that what you mean by invest in coaching, or you thinking of other guys elsewhere? I think of Bob Melvin is a fantastic coach, and their coaches that they have currently. I think that they're set up good now that Farhan is not here. Allow those guys to kind of flourish a little bit. Mike Val, I heard someone say Busher ought to catch a bullpen for Roki Sasaki, and that would seal the deal. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, maybe I don't know. Like what? Like to give him tips while he's catching a bullpen for Roki Sasaki. Man, I would love it. I would love it if he came. I just don't see that happening, guys. I don't see that happening. Convince me otherwise. Anyone else that thinks that Roki Sasaki is coming here, tell me why you think he's coming here. Why would he pick San Francisco? I would love it. I would love it. Absolutely, they need it, but I just don't see it. I'm trying to be optimistic. I was optimistic for a good portion of time, but then I heard I heard Andrew Bagley say earlier today on KMBR that the Dodgers pulled all their international money and didn't dish them out to international prospects, and that's a signal that he's going to the Dodgers. I wouldn't necessarily say that that's an end all be all, but they're definitely getting their pieces lined up. Like they're getting ready for it. They're getting ready for it, and hopefully Sasaki picks elsewhere. Taylor, thank you, man. Thank you for agreeing with my thoughts. Appreciate you guys stopping by here. Give me Ramos, then Yaz. I'm with you on that, Rockin'. I would much rather have Ramos than Yaz, but then it's not really the question because you're gonna have Ramos in left, Yaz in right. Would you rather have Matos over Mikey Yastrzemski? I think the answer is still the same. Is yes. I want to see what the young guy can do. Give him the opportunity to sink or swim. I would name the bullpen after Roki. Okay. Oh, man. You guys are funny. Let's see here. Please, we've all seen Yaz and know his ceiling. Anyone but Yaz and his pop outs the shortstop. Yeah, I think we're all in the same boat for Mike Yastrzemski. Nothing against Mike Yastrzemski. He's a great guy, but yeah, like Taylor just said, we know his ceiling. We know his ceiling, but he's in there. See, and that's the thing. Because this offense isn't going to generate a lot of runs at a high tick, maybe having Mike Yastrzemski, I'm just saying, maybe having Mike Yastrzemski in there and his ability to take away hits and play an astounding defense, maybe that is more valuable than having Luis Matos kind of grow through the Giants system at the major league level. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see here. Logan's Coins. What's up, Logan? Welcome to Passion for the Pastime. I don't know if this is your first time, but welcome in, man. He has almost no value in terms of WAR due to having almost no extra base hits and bad defense, not great at base running. Who are you guys talking about? You guys talking about Yaz? Is that what we're getting to? Let's see here. Tight pants, leggings. What is going on? What are you guys talking about? I have to see it to believe it was Sasaki. Yeah, mystery team. It will be the A's. Dude, could you imagine? Oh my God. That would piss me. That actually might piss me off more than the Diamondbacks. If it was the A's, he's not going to Sacramento, man. He's not going to Sacramento because they're not going to Vegas, so he's not going to go to Sacramento. That would be it. That would probably piss me off because all of a sudden the damn A's want to start making good moves. God, A's piss me off so much. Why'd you have to bring up the A's, Rockin'? You know how to get me going, dude. Arise also. Oh, you were talking about Arise. Is that what you're talking about? Has no value? Jeez. I thought Arise is pretty good. Let's see. Arise also draws almost no walks. Interesting. Probably the Braves. Yeah, that's a good call. That's a good call, Logan. Yeah, the Braves. That is a fantastic call, actually. I didn't even think about the Braves because the Braves might actually go get Max Scherzer. When you look to, because they're going to have to substitute, what's it called? Max Fried and Morton, right? Didn't they lose both of them this offseason? So yeah, they definitely need a pitcher. I know they have Spencer Strider, but can't win them all with one person. Sports Kingdom, what's up, Sports Kingdom? Welcome back to Passion for the Pastime. Good to see you in here. We've all been bamboozled. No, the cruise line will get going. I just got to figure it out. I got to figure out this StreamYard system here. Got to figure it out. All right, but who's better technology wise, me or John Lund? Let me guys know in the YouTube. Let me know in the YouTube chat. Let's see. I can understand Walter too. Yaz, when he is on base, makes things happen. He's an excellent base runner, even though he doesn't steal bases really. Yeah, I mean Yaz is cool. Yaz is all right, but I'd rather see the young guys coming up. Jesus, did he really, Logan? I'm gonna have to look that up. Yaz had double the WAR of a Rise last year. Jesus. Let's see here. Peric Dappa. Could see Max chasing a ring in Atlanta. Yeah, I mean Atlanta's gonna be involved. Atlanta's gonna be in it. They definitely have a uphill battle, I think, in that division though. That division's tough with the Phillies and with the Mets now. Braves can easily win that division, but I'm just saying it's gonna be tough. It's not necessarily a walk-in with the Atlanta Braves. Let's see here. Don't make me call back in, dude. I still have your voicemail. I haven't put it back. I haven't put it on the board yet. I'll do that tomorrow. If we have a show. I'll let you guys know if I do have a show. But yes, feel free to call that number whenever you want, AJ, and leave me a voicemail. That's how we'll get you on for the meantime. But I'll work on the cruise line. I promise you, we will have something in the works sooner rather than later. I will dedicate all of my free time to developing and having the cruise line up and operational. But you guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Tight pants, Robbie Ray. Yeah. Tight pants. That's right. Usually when I hear tight pants, I just think of Papa referencing Will Ferrell and also Walker Bueller. That's what I think of when I hear tight pants. So I didn't immediately associate Robbie Ray to tight pants. Walter looking for a sponsor for the cruise line. Yeah, dude, 100%. Carnival Cruises. No, we'll see what we could do. I'm not a war guy. Lowrider all day. Okay, you guys are losing it. Yeah, you've been scared by a papa. All right, you guys are just going at it right now. All right, guys. Well, I am gonna get out of here. It is 7:12. We've gone over our limit, and I've been going for an hour and 11. Did I not show up that late? I felt like I showed up late. Was the screen not dark for too long? Scooping up that crap. If you guys missed that was a whole ordeal. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. But it smells beautifully in the Passion for the Pastime studios now. So you guys, hope you guys enjoyed this episode today. We talked with Jeff Young. We will continue to have great baseball conversations, especially with you guys in the chat. Peric Dappa. That always screws me up, man. I can never say that right the first time. Peric Dappa. Got to slow down. AJ Cruz, Logan's Coins. Appreciate you guys coming in. Taylor Jenkins, again, rocking New Era. Mike Val. I think I saw EB in here earlier. Ernie was in here as well. Didn't see Tacky. What's up with Tacky? Tacky good? Tacky good to go? Hope Tacky's good. Let everybody know that if you guys talk to Tacky, let Tacky know that he was missed. So, but no, it was a fun episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That conversation with Jeff Young. That's what we'll continue to do here. We'll have podcasts, interviews, not all the time, but we'll have it throughout the week. We'll definitely have new people in every time. So I look forward to it. Pat H, what's up, Pat H? Thank you for stopping by again. Thank you guys all for stopping by. EB, Rockin' New Era, Peric Dappa, Taylor Jenkins, everybody, Mike Val, Rockin' New Era. You guys know who you are. Appreciate you guys. It's always fun to jump into the YouTube chat and jump onto YouTube and talk baseball with you guys for an hour. We'll continue to do it. We'll bring in great guests as always. We've had pretty good guests on so far. We've had Tacky's favorite person, Ben Nicholson Smith. We'll have him on again. We'll have our favorite Canadian on when the time is right. But then who else did we have on? We had on Danny Dunn. Danny Dunn was actually the first guest of the podcast. We'll definitely have him on as a regular. We might do a weekly segment. I've been workshopping. Might have Danny Dunn be involved in that as well. Eric Angle was on here as well. Who else? We had Carey, we had Jesse Rogers, tons of great people, tons of people that know more about baseball than I do. But we'll continue to have those conversations as we move on because Passion for the Pastime rolls on. I'm going to get out of here. We will be back at it tomorrow. As of right now, if it changes, I will let you know, keep you updated on X, on Twitter. So go ahead and give me that follow. You see it there on the bottom left-hand side of the screen at Walleezy. That's WALLEEZZY. If it is your first time in here, make sure to subscribe. If you liked it, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. Set your notifications. Give me a like. You know the deal. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast. Again, thank you to Jeff Young for stopping by for the podcast and talking some Giants baseball. We'll continue to do it on Passion for the Pastime. And you know what? What I've noticed, I've been watching a lot of podcasts lately, and people have out music. So let me know in the YouTube chat before I get out of here, what song, and kind of ponder, what song, send me a DM on X, what song should I exit with? What's a good exit song for me? Just right off the top of my head, just channeling AJ Cruz. I might do Lowrider. Lowrider. Yeah, maybe that's a good one. I don't know. Let me know what song you guys want for my exit, because I don't like exiting with just silence. It's kind of awkward, right? It's kind of awkward. So let me know what song. Smelly Cat by Phoebe. Dude, that's perfect. Yeah, just cruising. We going Smokey Robinson, Mike? You getting all oh yeah, man. Let's see. All right. I like that one. Keep them coming. And we will continue to Baby Let's Cruise Away from, oh dude, okay, yeah, you're talking my language now. We're going Smokey, we're going Motown. I'd get down with some Motown, dude. We'll do a karaoke night one time on Passion for the Pastime. You guys send me your request, what you guys want me to sing. But I'm gonna get out of here, you guys. I hope you had oh, I know why it smells good in here. My girlfriend lit a candle. I just noticed it in the corner of the room. Oh my God, this all came full circle. Let's get out of here. I'm just gonna keep talking. I'm not gonna shut up. But you guys, have a good one. I had a lot of fun today. Again, thank you to all of you for stopping by. You guys make it fun, and that's why I'm doing it. Every day. It's a good time. So we'll continue to do it as long as you guys show up. I'm going to be here too. So you guys have a good one. Thanks to Jeff Young. Thanks to all of you for stopping by. I think I've said thanks to everyone like 5 times. I'm getting out of here. I'm going to go eat some food. Probably going to go pick up some McDonald's. What should my order be? Send me a DM. What should I eat? You guys let me know. But you guys have a good one. Be safe. Talk to you tomorrow.